Hey, deep feelers. It's your girl Genevieve, and I'm back today, tired and on an emotional ride. But Spirit is quite insistent that I make a video today because there are others out in the collective today that are feeling struggling to trust their own knowing. There are others out in the Deep Feeling Collective today that are having a hard time seeing their own worth and are exhausted. And so Spirit wanted me to get on today and let you know that you are more than you ever know. Um, this life can be beautiful and it can be incredibly painful. So I thought that I would, as always, share a little bit of my story, things that I am navigating currently, because I feel like that is how the message is meant to come across. So recently, earlier this year, I ended a relationship with somebody that I loved to the very depth of who I am. This person is a beautiful human, a loving soul, a kind and gentle man. And yet, throughout our relationship, I felt increasingly less like I could be who I truly was. And after 4 years that went by, it finally was something that I wasn't able to ignore anymore. And so the relationship had to come to a close. And although it came to a close amicably, uh, agreeably, um, and without any hard feelings or resentment, um, as time has progressed, the pain, the loss, the feelings of did I did I give up something? You know, there's that underlying, that self-limiting belief that I won't find anything better, right? And this belief was created through my child self, because of the mother and the father wounds, which we have discussed in previous videos. So when you start your life as a deep feeling little person and you feel like you have to perform for the love of others, you grow into an adult deep feeling person who still feels like they need to perform for the love of others, but you forget who you really are, because not only do you feel yourself, like we've discussed, but you feel everything else, like we've discussed. And so people will project onto you what they need you to be. And this isn't a conscious projection. I don't believe it's a conscious projection. But everybody is presenting to the world from their own set of wounds, right? Everybody is showing up in the world from their own belief system. from how they believe and view themselves. And this is creating their reality. You are creating your reality, and these realities are bumping up against each other, especially in a romantic relationship, right? Any kind of interpersonal relationship, where two realities, are coexisting in the same now moment, but are vastly different for both people. And so, in my relationship, with this beautiful soul, I considered it to be the best relationship I had ever had, because in the past, historically, all other relationships that I had been in were highly abusive relationships, whether that was physical abuse, mental, emotional, um, sexual abuse, right? And so, as I was becoming increasingly unhappy in that relationship, I was also becoming increasingly feeling more feelings of guilt, feeling more feelings of there's got to be something wrong with me because I can't be happy, or I can't sustain the feelings of happiness, when I have so much to be grateful for, right? And so we start to, well, we don't start to, we double down on the negative self-talk, on the thinking that there must be something wrong with us, or that we have to be better or do better or just love more or give more, until the only thing that we can really feel anymore are the feelings of anger and resentment and confusion and sadness. And we allow our self-worth to be tied to another person. And by doing this, we end up identityless, or we end up hating ourselves, and we end up hating the other person. We end up feeling trapped, and a lot of times, that trapped feeling multiplies and intensifies. Um, and this is not to say, um, there are people out there that are currently in, severely abusive relationships that, do not feel like they have a way out. I am not belittling or minimizing that in any way. Um, Safety is always the number one priority in these situations, right? Um, but we feel lost, and we feel like we don't know who we are, because we don't. We don't. Um, Especially when the child self never got the opportunity to be the child. Rewinding farther back into my story, um, when I was about 4 years old, I was um, I was molested, by the son of the daycare provider, whose home I was at for daycare. And that, at such a pivotal point in my life, at such a young age, um, I was a highly conscious and very deep feeling child, right? And so, I remember very little about the act itself, but I do remember, being, um, yelled at by the daycare provider, for even being in her son's bedroom. So not only was my choice taken from me, my body autonomy taken from me, um, and I was introduced to sexual acts or, that realm of things really, really early, but then I was shamed for it. And I was made to feel like I had done something wrong. And that is something that I have carried through into every one of my adult relationships leading up until this point that I am speaking about in this now moment. And so, historically, romantic relationships for me have been with physical intimacy, have either been without consent or have been where I have willingly put myself in situations or have willingly done things that I wasn't comfortable with or that I didn't want to do in order to feel loved, accepted, desired, uh, right? And the process of unweaving this, the process of looking at the spaces where we've abandoned ourselves can get really icky, right? It can get really uncomfortable. And the feelings that come up, rage being one of them, can feel like they're going to consume us, right? Grief. Grief can be very sticky in the body. Grief can live and grow and take root in our heart space, in our sacral and our solar plexus chakras, so right above and right below the navel. The sacral being the womb space, right? So, but to have the courage and to have the desire to look at these spaces because they keep perpetuating, right? And so when they keep coming up and they keep bringing up the pattern of I keep abandoning myself in relationships in order to feel loved, right? That's the underlying desire, is in order to feel loved. But what we're really doing is we're abandoning ourselves in order to keep the other person comfortable. We are not standing on our boundaries because we don't even know what they are. Because as a child, we were never given the autonomy to do so. So if you also experienced early body trauma, this is probably something that really resonates with you. And if you haven't been able to meet that part of you yet, it is coming up in I'm not good enough. I will never be good enough. The distrust of self, the I should be further along in whatever situation or outcome that is happening in your life, whether it's a job or a relationship or education, whatever it is. But for those of us that felt like we had to perform for love as children, erect these really high standards for ourselves because we always felt like we were having to meet really high standards of our parents, whether it was mom or dad. In my case, it was dad. The relationship with our fathers is the relationship with ourself and our boundaries. And the relationship with our mother is the original relationship, right? It's the original connection. And so when these things are skewed, when we aren't shown the love and the acceptance and all the things that we require as deep feeling. Now, I'm specifically talking to my Deep Feeling Collective. I'm specifically talking to those of us who feel the room, right? The undercurrent. Those of us that feel people shift before they feel themselves shift, right? We feel every silence. And when you, Spirit says, when you can feel silence, because silence is so loud in a lot of ways, that you fill that silence with all your fears, with all your insecurities. And those multiply and they compound. And so, even a relationship that isn't abusive, even a relationship where you do enjoy each other's company, but your needs aren't being met, you will force yourself to stay. Because after the string of abuse, um, the being belittled, the being ridiculed, the blatant disregard, the narcissism, right? The taking. We will talk ourselves into what we think we deserve. And I truly believe that nothing or no one is inherently good or bad, that we label our experiences and the people and the places and the situations, we label per our own perception. But some things are just not for us, or they were for us for a certain amount of time, to teach us things about ourselves, right? So my lesson in my last relationship, as much as I loved and deeply, deeply love this person forever, the relationship was meant to teach me and to show me once and for all the places that I abandoned myself in order to feel loved and accepted. I know this person loves me. I also know they love me to the degree in which they love themselves. So we can't expect people to meet us any further than they've met themselves. And the same goes for us, right? Like, we can't, if we don't know ourselves, and the knowing of self, my friends, that's a journey. That's not a one and done. That's not an overnight, okay, I know myself. It's the who are you underneath the expectation? Who are you underneath the impossibly high standards? Who are you underneath the self-limiting belief that in order to be loved, you have to perform some kind of magic, some kind of illusion? Now, there's good magic out there. right? The universe and the manifestation and the prayer, whatever it is that you want to call it, God, goddess, universe, source, spirit, magic. But the magic trick that came to mind was, kind of now you see me, now you don't. And so know that you are inherently worthy. Know that the courage that it takes to meet yourself, the courage that it takes to even start the journey, not everybody has that. Just being here with me today, watching this video, is a step in that direction. Ooh. So we have the Hanged Man coming out in the tarot of the archangels today, and the Hanged Man is asking for a change in perspective, which I feel like this is not the first time that card has come out while I've done these videos. So look for the magic. Look for the real magic, right? Be aware of your own emotions. What are your emotions asking to be? What are your emotions asking from you? It's time to nurture yourself. It's time to nurture yourself. Who are you? And what has brought you here? What has brought you to this video? What has brought you to that feeling inside that says there's more here than the overflow that I give to other people? You're not going through this alone. There's help here. There's help here. It's time to take charge of your situation. And it's time to take the next step. Don't you just love it? You can't make this stuff. Shadow card or shadow work oracle deck. So we're talking who we face, what we face. Spirit says the inner. This card says demons, but the shadow. The card says don't be afraid of the darkness. There's a light nearby, and that light is inside of you. But it's time to take a look. It's time to look on the inside, my friends. Pattern repetition. Where are you experiencing the same pattern, the same relationship with a different face, the same job with a different location? Where are these patterns coming up for you in your life? It's time to face reality, right? It's time. The ship is oh, we got the butterfly up here, so that's transformation. This says detach from daily struggles and relax. But the time for avoidance is over. The inner conflict is the hardest conflict. Where are you deceiving yourself? It's time to put some trust in the self. And friends, this message is coming through me today because I need to hear it too. Right? We're all here in these vessels with individual DNA, with individual magic. And they're showing me a gateway, an archway. And whoever you are that I'm speaking to, you are standing in that archway. You are in the doorway. You just need to take the step forward and explore the feelings. Just explore. Just poke around. Just real soft. Just dip those toes in. Dip those toes in. It's okay to feel pain. It's okay to cry, deep feelers. I have called myself a professional crier my whole life, and once upon a time I did it as like a tongue-in-cheek, sort of self-deprecating, but now, friends, it's okay to cry. In fact, crying is good for the body, right? And it releases, reaching for some more cards here. It releases all the feel good, stress reducing chemicals. If you need to take a nap, take a nap. If you need to, my mother used to say, scream into a pillow, or go outside and stand in your backyard and scream into the abyss. Your neighbors will deal. But it's time to pay attention. Okay? Spirit says it's time to pay attention. There is joy. Joy is here. But sometimes we can't see it because we're so stuck in our heads, and we're so hard on ourselves. Spirit says, shine your mother frickin' light. Shine it. When you stand in your own authenticity, when you stand on your boundaries, when you stand in your truth, and when you say, I just don't care anymore. I care about me and me alone. And that's not saying you don't have people in your life you care about. You don't have, it's not about selfishness. It is, but not in the way that we view it. Being selfish is not a negative thing. You can still give your love, and you can still open your heart, and you can still be a supportive force for others in your life, and you can still care about things, but you have to care about yourself more. You just do. Because nothing can come from nothing, right? It's that you can't pour from an empty cup stuff, because you can't. So please, know that you are so deeply loved. And you also have a connection to the divine. If you're here watching me, it's because you know that you are tapped in, tuned in, and turned on. But you just haven't found the switch. So I'm here to help you turn it on. So with that, my beautiful deep feeling friends, can we take some deep breaths? I invite you to close your eyes. I invite you to envision a beautiful field of wildflowers. I invite you to feel the soft breeze blowing across your skin. And I invite you to feel the soft warmth of the setting sun on your face. I invite you to take a deep breath in through your nose. And as you breathe in, I want you to feel how loved you are. And deep feelers, as you breathe that breath through your body, I want you to feel that love and that light and that strength and that fortitude spread through every cell of your body. And as it lights you up, I want you to know that this is your true essence. This is who you are. And as you exhale through your mouth, I want you to know that this peaceful, beautiful meadow is here for you whenever you need to just breathe. This beautiful, peaceful meadow will take all that you need to release. The earth lovingly accepts anything that you need to let go of. Do you need to let go of urgency today? Do you need to let go of stress today? Anxiety, worry? Let it go as you let go of the breath, and know that you are fully supported, held, and guided. You are beautiful and you are loved.